What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex. In this video, we got to talk about potentially some very, very big layoffs hitting, I guess, Microsoft as a company, but, obviously our little niche here is Xbox and just gaming in general. So that's obviously what we're going to be talking about here. Not ideal at all. And it's not like we didn't see it coming. I think Tom Warren, specifically at The Verge, he talked about maybe back in May that there was going to be, I think, like 6,000 more Microsoft employees, and some of them would affect Xbox, but then he also warned, hey, I've heard that by the end of June, they're going to do a huge wave to Xbox, as a company, and taking people off there as well. And then, he's talked about even today, like, yeah, I talked about this, I knew it was coming. And then Jason Schreier, right, of Bloomberg, obviously I think we all know who he is, he comes out and basically confirms it. It's funny because technically it's a rumor, but like when Bloomberg breaks a story, when they talked about like Monolith being closed, like, some people at Monolith found it out through them. It's really weird how these like companies, journalist companies, work so hand in hand, with the actual businesses. Is actually a little scary when you think about it. But regardless, okay, you're going to have a lot of people. I guess we don't know the number. We've had some pretty severe Xbox layoffs. I think the last one was like 600 people. And I think they've done this like 2 or 3 times in a row, right? Like I think this is like year 2 or 3 every June-ish time. Microsoft as a company wipes out just like massive division. And I laugh. It's a lot of people losing their jobs, so maybe I shouldn't. But I laugh out of I'm not laughing at the people. I'm laughing out of like how ridiculous, the situation is. And honestly, in this case, I'm going to go to bat for Xbox here because I think they've had a pretty solid like year and a half. You go back 3-4 years when they just didn't have games and they were buying up companies, left and right. They were getting into these long buying out processes or whatever, right? But I mean, remember there was like the era of like one Xbox game per year, and now that's what PlayStation does every year. It's like, it's not to try to compare them. It's just to say like Xbox, I really think has, they're in their bubble. They want the Game Pass and they want, everything is an Xbox. Your chair is an Xbox. Your freezer is an Xbox. It gets ridiculous at a point, hence the jokes, but they've really embraced what they're trying to do over the last couple of years, and I think they got themselves there, like themselves. I think it was a series of mistakes that led to where they're at now. But I think they've embraced the kind of business that they need to be. And again, like sticking up specifically for the last little while, I mean, they've had some pretty solid games. They've had games do some pretty okay numbers. They've been way more consistent. I think no matter what, you can say that, right? Like Hellblade might not be your cup of tea, or this game or that game. You could talk about what they did with like Tango Gameworks, but Hi-Fi Rush, obviously, Phil Spencer's out there, making Ninja Gaiden come back. Like they are doing some things that I think are pretty, respectable. And also on top of that, even to go to bat for like the business and money side, again, they got themselves here through all of these decisions, but they're like the number one publisher on PlayStation. I know everybody will make the joke, and that leads to kind of console wars too. I don't really care because I feel like it really helps both, right? It's like, well, okay, from PlayStation side, they take cuts of every single game that's sold through the PS Store. So it's like they're raking in money through Xbox, but they're not raking in the majority. And then hence that's why it's a win also for Xbox, right? It's like these games that might not have been selling well or doing, we don't even know, God knows the numbers, right? They come out on PlayStation and they're top 2, top 3 sellers, for months on Sea of Thieves, right? Comes over and freaking dominates on PlayStation, and it's like win-win. More people are actually, you could say win-win more than just 2 times. Everybody's winning. The studio is winning. More people are playing the game than ever before. PlayStation is getting a little money through that, right? And helping open up that ecosystem to Sea of Thieves. And then Xbox is making money that maybe they've never made. I'm probably not for Sea of Thieves, but for other games, right? I mean, like I think it's a fine strategy. I mean, yeah, people will get into the arguing about it, but and that's what, you could say, well, what does that have to do with the jobs? I mean, like, again, you just look at those numbers, and it's like, I don't know, Xbox has had a pretty diverse games lineup, over the last year and a half, 2 years. They're more consistent now than ever, which is definitely, like, no matter what, I think that's a positive. That's kind of what we want for all these companies, is to just have some sort of schedule, and most companies do not. So I can respect that. And then, even if a game falters, or, like a Hi-Fi Rush, right? Like, well, I mean, like that was a whole different situation, but, that comes out, that was like my second favorite game, of that year. Phenomenal game. Obviously, they make the mistake that they made with them. But, and maybe it sells a little bit more on PlayStation when they bring it over. So, even their mistakes, or even say games that maybe don't do so well, sales on Xbox, they bring it over to PlayStation and it continues to grow, right? Indiana Jones, et cetera, et cetera. So I don't know. It just sucks that it feels like they're getting their footing, and like they're not perfect. They're not perfect, and they've made a lot of mistakes. And again, like a series of their mistakes have led them to their current strategy, like it or hate it. Okay, but at the same time, it's like, well, they are finding their footing. I think they're poised to have, maybe not the greatest fall. We talk about kind of, okay, what does PlayStation have for the fall? Nintendo, Xbox. I mean, Xbox has The Outer Worlds 2, right? And their first $80 game. Not ideal, not perfect. In fact, not even good. But you look at next year, and it's like, okay, next year could be very, very good for them. And it's like, okay, how many people are you going to fire? How many people are you going to fire next year? Also, I guess how many people are you going to fire this year? But I mean, again, Microsoft as a company has just laid off tens of thousands. Like, they are one of the most aggressive, and they do it every year. It's like they don't even care. And I don't know. I don't want to get too much into that world, but it's like Microsoft makes an unbelievable amount of money. Now, I can maybe, like, from the Xbox side, I can maybe understand it more where it's like, if they're not making the money back from, like, say, Activision, Blizzard, and Bethesda, right? Like, if there was that, and there's been a lot of talk of that, if Microsoft wants them to make back, like, $70 billion, and they want them to do it extremely quick, and they're just factually not doing it, you got to do what you got to do. I mean, I would argue, then why would you do it in the first place, right? It's like, maybe don't punish who you already have. Don't punish Double Fine. Don't punish the Coalition, right? Like, these are studios that are very talented. Don't go after them. Maybe just don't make deals that are $70 billion if you feel like you can't make that money back right away. Or if you expect to make the money back right away, maybe don't expect that. You know what I mean? It's like, so I can get it from like, okay, well, you owe us money. You told us you were going to make a lot of money because you bought Activision and Blizzard. Where's the money? Now we need to take it from you, so we're going to cut. And at the same time, like, Microsoft makes so much money, and they're also, cutting everybody. So I don't know. It's a weird situation. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Make sure, as always, you're subscribed to the channel, bell icon turned on. I hope to see you all on the next one.